Hi, don't often come on midday. I've already been on at 4 o'clock. I had a wealth of feedback or response and friend requests, or should I say people making friend requests. Still no comeback about Boston Pyramid water. I've sent, I've sent a link to President Trump's, I don't know what it is, it's not, it's via Facebook anyway. You can link into this page and you can send messages. So I've just sent a link to the previous video, which is about the legalization of marijuana, and it did have a small bit to him directly. Whether he gets to see it or not is a different matter. But anyway, we try. And now I've got a few people actually linked in. Hi. It's not Nirvana, it's Nirvana, so I can't actually produce that. But yes, namaste to you anyway. I seem to be, yes, this is crazy time, actually, Mickey Mouse. I've got people who are trying to contact me but want to text. I do honestly prefer to just talk to people, video talk, but maybe it's fear or what, or probably lack of facilities. Don't get so many positive responses to that request. Hi, yeah. But to me, I'm just that sort of person, wasting time asking all these little questions. Where do you live? Right. And yet, if you have a live, like video phone contact, you learn so much more about the person. That's another aspect. Unfortunately, there are monkey come immature people on Facebook, polite way of putting it, and their idea of fun is to, I've never liked that concept, even from a young person, wind up. What they mean is lying. Yeah. In other words, pretending to be something they're not, asking a load of stupid questions, implying they're interested in having a relationship with you. Although, well, look at me, I'm 65. I don't make any ploy about that. I don't dress young. You know what I mean? I am not actually looking for a relationship. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong with people who deliberately make out there's something they're not, and can't and don't want to have a face-to-face conversation. Hi, so I'm sorry if you're one of the people that have tried that. It's no go with me. It's time. I could spend hours chatting with someone, again, who just wants to chat because they're bored. Give me an example. I had someone text me, so I then tried to make a video call back. Very annoyed. But I shouldn't actually say please stop, but please, that's it. Please, it was, yeah. Please don't try and video talk to me. I'm at work. Get it? So she's probably working away, and just for a bit of entertainment, I'll give this guy a buzz and have a little, because you could do it, you could be typing something and, yes, how are you? Yeah, do you thing and all this. I ain't got time for that, mate. That's maybe there you go. Put nothing down. Hi. Yeah, there's certainly a few more people, obviously. See, when I go on at 4 a.m, although there is time differences, but I'm getting a lot of people coming through from India. Now, I don't know what the time factor is, or he's 6 hours in front, 10 hours behind, or whatever. But in England here, Scotland, where I am now talking to you live, right? There's no pre-recorded. This is live, obviously. It's 9 minutes plus 9 minutes high past 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I don't know what time it is in India. Maybe you can do all that, but that's, you can get loads of time clocks on your computer. But I've got obviously an affinity with India. Well, I have. I've been into Krishna consciousness. So I very much touched into the Hindu culture. But if you accept, as I do, previous lives, who knows what you've been in a previous life? I had this, I'm doubling, but anyway, you won't. I had an interesting conversation with Facebook personnel, right? This is about 2 years ago, but I was deliberately trying to build up a network of friends. So I would send them what I'm going to start doing that again, but anyway, what's called a healing mandala. Now, again, most of you are Indian folk, yeah, you'll know what a mandala is, yeah, meditation device pattern. But I would make my own, and it was a slight twist. It was a healing mandala. You could use it and meditate, and it would center you. But they were made up on a computer and in layers. That'll probably, well, I'm doing it now. So at the bottom of the layer was a photograph of a sacred site. Himalayas is an example, a holy sacred site. And this is a follow-up from the work of a lady called Judy Hall, who's written a brilliant book called Sacred Sites and Crystals. So what these mandalas are made by putting at the bottom a photograph which carries the energy of that place. Then on top of that, there'd generally be some silk Tibetan Buddhist prayer flags. You've seen them, a lot of you will know that they're beautiful, and they've all got Sanskrit prayers. It's not all just Om Mani Padme Hum, but it could have been, that doesn't matter. And so I've got blue, yellow, red, whatever, just moving in the spirit on top of that. Then I put a pattern, what you call a crystal grid, which is just a shape. It can be a star, a square, whatever you're inspired, but with various crystals. Then in the center, which would be a centerpiece, it could be many different things. It could even be a pendant, anything. But the title of the mandala was generally linked to the bottom layer. So whatever sacred site I was using, that would be healing mandala of whatever. Take one, because I could make 4 or 5 different mandalas from the same photographic layout. Because what I then did, this is all done in the public library, take a photograph, handheld, but the brilliant digital technology cameras we have, they even have anti-shake technology. So they can allow for you slightly moving. Then, of course, when you upload the photograph into the computer, you then can manipulate it and vastly improve the sharpness. Right, so it looks a really brilliant photograph, perfectly sharp image. But then I put it into another bit of software and it mixed everything up. It's called, well, Pixel Motor. And there's a new one, Pixel Motor Pro. Not very expensive, but brilliant for this sort of work. So if you want to make your own patterns, designs, but incorporating sacred objects which carry the energy of those sacred objects. So you're forming a nice pattern, because obviously your eyes see it and you can manipulate it to, oh, that's nice, and they're perfect shapes. And well, I'll have to post some of them. I've got them all on my hard disk. But then I'd send these to people or just post them online. And if someone just clicked in and said, like that, that was my follow through to just say, thanks very much. Can we be friends? Because obviously we've got that in common. We've linked anyway. And so I built up well over 2,000 people, right? But then in the process, Facebook send you suggestions, as you probably know, who you might like, because once you've filled in, a certain amount of information, it's helpful, it's useful, right? They can send you friend suggestions. So as well as people directly contacting you to be your friend, you also get a list of suggestions which you obviously can connect out. And so I've nearly built up 3,000 friends. But then it got to the phase, even though they were making these suggestions, I get this little message come through. Do you know this person? It was like a warning, really. If not, I forget how it's worded, but it's basically encouraging you not to continue. So eventually I got whizzed off with this. Because as I said, well, I probably do from a previous life, because I'm just moving in the spirit, look down a list of people, that one. So I actually challenged them on this point and wrote to them and said, look, we keep getting these messages, blah, 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 but I believe I probably know these people from a past life. There's no argument for that, is there? So suddenly the messages stopped. Why? Because if someone makes a thing to a friend and you happen to be, I'm being sarcastic and funny, a big pop star or someone famous, can be a bit, the gifts of the spirit being joy. Now, a lot of people not so much agree with that, but realise that if someone's being joyful, it doesn't mean they're a bit, the spirit's moving through them. And that can come through as humour. Of course it can. You can become a jester for Christ. I think I said that slightly wrong, but a fool for Christ. So your whole atmosphere persona appears to be not very serious about anything, right? Which also is wrongly equated with not very intelligent. Don't think so. Sorry, that's as far from the truth from my experience, right? Now, a lot of your gurus, saints, are very jovial characters, okay? They wouldn't get much of a following if they were constantly being stern and laying down and worship me. Yes, I know there's satsang. And yes, there isn't a lot said in satsang. I understand satsang, again, from previous lives. But if your spiritual master, teacher, guru comes across like that, they're generally on a bit of an ego trip. Okay? Because this is a quote from a Tibetan master, Dwong Kol, see recognition, who wrote all the Lucis Trust books, if you've ever studied them, that were channeled by a lady called Alice A. Bailey. But right in the front of every volume, do not worship me or accept what has been said purely on the false authority that I am a Tibetan master. Meaning you must test everything for yourself. And if it doesn't gravitate with you, forget it, shelve it, goes in the brain, and something goes well above your head from where you are actually coming from. Don't worry about it. Maybe in 5 years' time or whatever, it suddenly becomes very clear and you can empathize with that statement, because that's how it works. Everything goes into the subconscious mind, right? Everything, right? This ties in, similar, I was talking in the previous video about the Zohar. Now, that's a system of teaching. I'm looking at it now. It's 24 volumes long or short. You could spend years, your whole lifetime trying to just read and study it, but you don't have to do that. We're taught, if you do any course to do with this teaching, and that's why the books are written in 2 languages. One is, okay, it's got an English translation, so your mind can, have a description of what's being said, but then it's written into you all know this, similar to Sanskrit, a very ancient language, and you read it from left, although it'll look wrong from here because it's reverse, to right, but more important, they call it scanning. Just like the computer technology we have today in the supermarkets, it's scanned, but the information is then reinterpreted and they know exactly what you brought, how much it is, and all the rest. Scanning. We can scan. I've done it. I used to take my volumes of the Zohar into the local library, set up a book stand that you can get, and it has 2 things. So your hands are technically free, but all you do is every now and then unclick it if you follow me and go with the page and right? And I was scanning it, not consciously recognizing what was being said, because they believe, again, your subconscious mind does take it in and does understand on that level. So it's all gone in. And if it needs to come out, it can come out, but in the language you are familiar with. And if you need to study something in your own language, you can do that as well, right? But the thing is that it means that you can assimilate anything. We'll say the Hindu scriptures, they're written in Sanskrit, but I believe the same analogy would work for them. And which I have done. I was part of Krishna consciousness, and I have studied the Hindu scriptures, but they're all in Sanskrit. There was an English translation as well, but that's good enough. So all these massive scriptures, which are fantastically detailed, and you guys will know what I'm talking about. It's not just the Bhagavad Gita. And a lot of it's very, very relevant to what's happening now. And it's talking about nuclear weapons. Now, a lot of you know this. The swastika, which has been misinterpreted, or was, of course, by Adolf Hitler, is actually a universal symbol for the atom. So you've got like a point in the center, and then the ziggy lines represent things whirling round. They understood the nature of the atom thousands of years ago. Nothing new under the sun. Yugas, you guys understand this, a measurement of time, but in ages. we're going through, although there might be a bit of an argument at this, that we've just left it, the Kali Yuga, time of immense darkness, which is, we only need to look around. Most people, the axiom God is dead has been sunk foot, line and sinker by most people. They stopped thinking for themselves, stopped looking and seeking, which we're employed by the scriptures to do. Seek and you shall find. And have just accepted, oh, God is dead, right? Oh, it's not intelligent to believe in God. Oh, I believe in science. I believe in science as well. But I also know science is proving, as far as it can be, the existence of God. Look through your high-powered microscopes, right? As above, so below. If we could take ourselves back and look at ourselves, right, we would see what we see when we look up into the heavens, i.e. lots of little points of light, but a lot more space. For in reality, we are highly vibrating beings. In reality, we're not actually solid, but we appear solid. But it's possible to raise your vibrations, enter into another body, whether it's your astral body, and you can pass through, in inverted commas, exclamation marks, solid objects. It's what people see when they see a ghost, but it walked through the wall. Another thing to do with ghosts, they're not in the same time sphere as us. So that's why they're like trapped, okay? That's what haunting means. They're trapped to a place, either they were murdered there or whatever, and they haven't been completely released, which is what they need to happen to them, to carry on and go to the other dimensions and then eventually reincarnate back. Now, you guys should understand that. So that's what is known as exorcism, deliverance ministry. That's it. So a ghost is someone that is enacting out. If you go into this and look into hauntings, right, they seem to just do the same actions on the same dates, right, because they're trapped. And they just need releasing. Now, why I've gone into this, well, who knows? But I seem to have got, this is a new tack for me, but I've been through spiritualism. I've had contact with astral entities. I've been told I could be a medium should I wish to be. But I was also told from the same rostrum, this isn't for you. Now, that's an unusual thing to say to someone who's in your church and could be a new convert, right? Because I was a young lad who used to go with my dad. I was only about 12 or 13. But the person, the medium, understood I had the capacity to grasp what they were saying, and I knew that. I'd worked out for myself, well, just because you're in an astral body doesn't mean you're more spiritually evolved. Because I could tell by the caliber of the messages that are coming through. They are still very much human. Oh, Mary's here, and she said she saw you with such and the dog, and would like to wish you well. So just proving that they're there by quoting something that they've just recently done. You know, so they're hobbling around, which relatives do and can actually be your guides. But that's still the same analogy. They're only slightly more, not so much evolved, but their sensitivity, because they're free of the physical body, is an advancement. But it is strictly controlled, meaning people go to a spiritualist church and think, oh, well, I'm going to, tell me the numbers so I can win the lottery. Nada. All these things are karmically controlled, and of course you have other entities, guardian angels, etc., etc., etc. None of us ever walk alone. We've all got guides and helpers, depending on how many lives we've lived, depending on how many lessons we've grown and moved through. I once had someone tell me I've got Mother Mary with me. Now we get into something even more different. All these evolved entities, and you will appreciate this, aren't confined to just having one person of them, if you follow me. We all know the word is expansions. Krishna could be in thousands of places simultaneously. Mother Mary can be in thousands, if not millions of places simultaneously. And people say, well, Mother Mary came to me. It's a song, actually. Yeah, that's coming, but Paul McCartney. Mother Mary came to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be. Now, that actually did happen. Anyone who understands these things, mind you, Paul might say something different. But it could have happened. Because Mother Mary can be thousands, if not millions of places simultaneously. We study about Krishna having expansions, being in other, well caught in the slips, that's reflexes for you. Being on different dimensions simultaneously. And so anyone that calls, this is why, well, what's the point of that? You can call upon Jesus Christ, as an example, to help you and have a personal request. But he can and does respond to all of the requests that are sent up to him. Same analogy as Mother Mary. Thousands, if not millions of people make personal appeals. It's not, how can I put it, the most evolved way of using prayer. And as we grow, we realise that, I've got to take responsibility for my own life. And I can't just expect Jesus or Mother Mary to fix everything for me. Some things I've got to do it and go through experiences myself. That is karma. I keep getting this or that happening to me. Well, it's a lesson to be learned. Thank you. Nice to get feedback. I've shared that before. You can feel you're talking to the wind. But this is a live broadcast, and some people are actually witnessing it as it happens. Now, some people might see this later, might contest that, but all the people, it's not a lot, but the people witnessing this know, and it is broadcast live. And some people do enjoy it, as I'm obviously finding out. It's more dynamic. But what's actually happening? My ministry changes, bit of an ego thing for you, but not to the level of my audience. Now, how can I make that? If I've got a couple of closed off atheists, whatever, who are not very spiritually aware, shall we say politely, I might just talk about pop stars and the weather and overemphasize, like I've often done, but it's all good stuff, the spirituality of a lot of modern day rock musicians, because that's something they can relate to. The other day, Neil Young, there's a world you're living in. No one else has your part. Now, that's a very spiritual statement. But it is done with pop music or rock music, however you want to say it. And with other people, I can go off into things like, which I've just done, right? Spirits, deliverance ministry, ghosts, phenomena which isn't perhaps everybody's cup of tea, although it should be. It's all facts of life. Most people have had someone that's died on them. And most people, that's generally the clink of audience that attends a spiritualist church, will end up going there, and rightly so. No one's got any real answers for them, and they want proof. They want to know that Aunt Jenny is well and happy, and in a sense is still alive, but in another dimension. So they go to a spiritualist church. So I shouldn't be too, it obviously opens people up to that, and then they carry on. They will probably get into prayer, which they will do anyway, worship, which they will do, and their own personal faith can grow. And they might become a healer. Very advanced or visionary, better word, spiritualist churches run psychic training courses. So you go to a meeting and you have your worship, and the medium's there on the rostrum, there's an address, then there's a demonstration. But there's a lot more going on outside of the Sunday services, which is one role they play. They will generally run courses. I did a psychic development course in Southsea, and not a rip-off, no big large fee. I was only a kid, for God's, you know what I mean? I don't know, I was working, but you know what I mean? But no, it was very just geared for the every man in the street's pocket, and wasn't a money-making thing. They had to cover the costs. In fact, sometimes you just gave a donation, right? And that did just cover the expenses of the person taking the course. New tact. So there's a wealth of things for us to get involved in. And more significantly, online, there's a wealth of opportunities to link in with people of a like mind. I'm particularly very interested in planetary healing. And my particular bent is that pyramids are a device, a technology that have been given us. It's still being argued whether it was extraterrestrials, ancient civilizations that are no longer with us. Just got turbo power on. Yeah. And they, I believe, are given us to help us heal the planet. They would know and did know that we were gonna and we're going down that road. They can't, it's like Star Trek, directly interfere with us, but they can and do messages, but they can and did come and leave, possibly, pyramids. Because when you look into this, they're not just in Egypt. Oh no, I mean, that's, again, you said, that's what we're mainly told in the schools. No way. Oh, it's an amazing stuff about millions of stone circles, which is like a megalithic show of intelligence. Whoever these people, beings were, constructed stone circles in Africa. And needless to say, they're in places where there's no body at all, no cities, no towns, nothing. But some people were there and left behind these constructions which has still got to be investigated, and there's various speculations what they're used for. Some people are saying, oh, they're just enclosures for their livestock. No, they're not as impressive as Stonehenge, but they clearly are patterns, and these are discovered by people just flying over. And you can see them obviously from the air. And there's an estimated figure of, I believe it's 2 million. Then we go into many other places that have got pyramids. This is all online. You go into Gaia TV. Because again, I can't do it all. And sometimes I'm looking at my time. Yeah, it's appropriate that I just give that a connection. You're interested to find out more, check out Gaia TV, check out YouTube, that's free. Whack in the little browser, pyramids worldwide. There's been amazing books written. The current person who's the leader, if that's the right word, but who's investigating the Bosnian pyramids, has done this. He's not just discovered the pyramids in Bosnia, which is a fantastic event in itself, but he's been looking into pyramids for years and has traveled all over the world. And some of them are not even acknowledged as being a pyramid, as you find out. Places like holiday resorts, Sardinia, I think it was, various little islands like that. And they've discovered not massive big things like Giza, but certainly intelligent made structures in the shape of a pyramid. Some of them are like the pyramids in South America. They've got steps, right? But they're still a pyramidical shape. They may have a slight flattened surface. And one of them countries has said, oh no, that's just the local peasants made them. They were clearing stones to grow their crops, and spent all that time and energy making a perfectly shaped structure, we say, how the cornerstones had all been chiseled to a point to form a precise shape. No. And yet the government just, that's it, they don't know. They're a poor country and they haven't got money for that. And they've got a lot more problems as they see it than setting up investigations into what these buildings were. But it's coming because there are a lot of people who are now interested and haven't just brought into the Egyptologists version of what the pyramids are, a place where you just stick a few or a dead pharaoh, which I've said to the people, they're actually buried down the road in the Valley of the Kings. So that blows that proposition out the water. The pyramids in Bosnia, no, I think, none of you I've seen before. They've been carbon dated, and there are tunnels underneath them, or at least the pyramid, the sun, probably the other one. There's a complex of about 5 pyramids actually. But the main one that's being investigated is what's called the Pyramid of the Sun. It's larger than the Pyramid of Giza, and it's a virgin pyramid, meaning it's the people's, and scientists are more than welcome. So it's only newly being uncovered. Whereas I think the ones in Giza weren't obviously covered with sand. They were always just that shape, and they actually had a white casing put around them, but that's all been borrowed by the local who've made houses or whatever with them. So all the nice white covering, which made them far better reflectors of the light, has been removed. But the pyramids in Bosnia have got tunnels underneath them. And more important to my mind, there's water that has been channeling and underneath these pyramids. And they've carbon dated a leaf, it was, that one of the workers discovered, because it must be organic material apparently, and it was carbon dated to be 30,000 years old. So it makes them far older than the pyramids of Giza. It means that they were obviously left for thousands of years. No one lived by. Whoever built them just moved off. And then people did start to settle there, but they just look like, which of course they are in one context, a hill, because they're covered with earth. They've got trees growing on them and all the rest of it. But now they started to uncover them, and these are just volunteers. They discovered concrete blocks, which were obviously man-made or intelligent beings made. They weren't natural phenomena. They're big slabs. Now, at first, the other authorities, in inverted commas, exclamation mark, of pyramids contested this. And there was quite a strong move to get the dig stopped. And there are words like they're frauds and they're trying to con people. But it's moved on. It's, I think, 2005 initially discovered. So it's quite a few years now down the road. But my interest, I've never actually been, probably might have to, but I'm very keen to get hold of some of the Bosnian pyramid water. I myself are intending and have to set up a healing, so I'll just turn the computer around, some of you can now see it. A healing ministry come thing of planetary healing, incorporating waters from all over the world, incorporating the pyramid, and also incorporating the flower of life, sacred geometry, and also incorporating a few crystals. So bear with me. I don't know, there's probably many people watching, but whatever. And some people might be getting bored because I've done this a few times, but obviously each time I do a video, I've got to incorporate this. And it may be sink in a bit. Repetition. Okay, at the bottom of the pyramid, there's like a black plastic stool, because the Russian pyramidical research, which I've only just mentioned in this one, but Russia has built pyramids all over Russia using the army as the force or builders. And it was a scientist who approached the government and said, I want to build some pyramids and investigate them. And he was granted the money and the resources to do that. Soldiers were allocated to do, like I say, the work. And the pyramids have been set up quite a few places now all over Russia, and have been conducting scientific research into various things. My thing is that the water underneath the pyramids has immense healing, planetary, and people, of course, capacity. So my structure, at the bottom, we've got various samples of water. Just carefully, because I've got headphones on. As most of you folks seem to be from India, that is Ganges water. Most sacred for whatever, right? look at that carefully. Lord's water. Sacred place of immense healing. Mother Mary's connected with it. Water from a pyramid constructed in America. Similar to perhaps what I'm doing. They've constructed a pyramid, but it might be on a sacred site as well. And CBD, get it right, CBD, which is a component of marijuana, living water. And that water's been made by passing an electric current, having some CBD, and very small particles of the CBD have been added to the water. Right. Then underneath that, sorry, I'm finished yet. Yeah, sorry. Then by the side of those various containers of water is a big round glass container, and you can just see the tap. It looks silver, it is, but it's not metal. Again, coming from the Russian research, metal's a no-no. But plastic, which is this period's made from, is brilliant. And they verified this, like I say, by doing research. Then on top of that, and this has just evolved, is a wooden, round, circular flower of life. Well, it was intended to be a wall hang, but it's now being used like a lid, right? Because there was a metal lid and I've taken that away. But then on top of that is a pyramidical, conical shape, a science lab measuring jug. But as you can see, it's in the shape of a cone. And again, the Russian research has shown this, that a conical shape has the same facility to draw up the Earth's energy as the pyramid does. It's also been shown or known that the flower of life is a very ancient symbol from sacred geometry, and that is used by crystal therapists to cleanse their crystals after they've been used in work or whatever. So you've actually got like a double whammy effect. You've got a pyramid, again, over the top of the whole thing, but then you've got the flower of life and the water's on that. So that's also drawing up energy and purifying it. And that, in a sense, is a healing water generating machine, because you can constantly top it up, right? And I actually also make my own colloidal silver, which is just putting a silver rod into some water, sending a small electrical current through it, and the same analogy, nanoparticles, which means that they're absorbed a lot quicker and better through the body, are absorbed, I'm watching the time, into the water. It's actually called, you can buy it, colloidal silver, but you can also make your own. And colloidal silver, which is just, again, silver in water, has been demonstrated and known to be a very powerful antibiotic and will kill or neutralize all the viruses and whatever you can think of. So in a sense, it is, even on a physical level, medicinal water. But then you also add that it can be blessed, which it is constantly. I've got prayer wheels that are within its radiance that are constantly used. They also send out prayers across the computer and all the rest of it. So they are in a sacred space. But I do feel that some Bosnian pyramid water would finalise the whole thing. I've just recently made another attempt. I sent them a little video. Nearly a year ago, I emailed, and the response I got wasn't too positive. It's a bit broken English. It probably was just a foreign helper, and he may have not quite got it right. But obviously, they would need to set up, which I've asked through the video and whatever, a distribution network for people who are also interested in using it for healing, and in my mind, more important, planetary healing. And that is not going to be facilitated by just selling it to the few tourists that are attracted there, most of whom would probably consume it themselves and not be moved to move into this sort of thing. Bit far out. But I believe when I get that, it will be my red light, or green light actually, because it means go, to really set it up. I've got bottles, I've got a place to stand the road, Findorn Foundation. I can put a little card up, and already had. I've got some comeback from it, but I'm not actually quite ready to start. Like I say, the Bosnian pyramid water will be the icing on the cake. Because my theory is, well, it's not a theory, it's a proven knowledge. Every sample of water obviously has its own auric emanation, or some people would say an etheric body. And taking the same analogy as homeopathic medicine, right? They make medicines, but there's no actual physical particle of the remedy in the remedy. Now I'll explain that a bit better. I could take some belladonna, which is a known poison, put it in some water, then dilute that solution right down. And although it wouldn't do me any physical harm because there's no physical constituent of the belladonna left, the auric impression or signature of the belladonna will be and is impregnated into the water. Then that water then is administered and made into the sugar pills you get at a very minute, again, concentration, strength, if you like to use that word, but it's been found and is to be effective in treating various illnesses. So the same analogy, you can take some Bosnian pyramid water, put it by the side of a larger canister of water, which again is also under a pyramid. So you're constantly bringing up and in the Earth's energy. And going back to the Russian research, it's been shown you can put toxic materials under a pyramid and it's neutralized. You can put radioactive materials in a pyramid, it's neutralized. And on a positive, well, that is positive in a sense, you can put medicines in there and they're improved. So if you've got some natural colloidal silver antibiotic, which is one of the experiments they did anyway, but the theory is it worked with anything, its effectiveness was increased. Because they do the experiments, they put a known virus on a Petri dish, shall we say, drop the same quantity of liquid material with silver in it of various strengths, right? And there's a time they can measure it and looking under a top microscope that all the viruses are eventually eliminated. But when they put colloidal silver, as the example, on the same viruses, the effectiveness and the speed of which those viruses are eliminated is far faster than material that hasn't been put under a pyramid. the practical implications are immense. If you happen to be someone as I am that doesn't like chemical medicine or chemical drugs because it's common sense they're not natural, and you happen to be following the naturopathic school of medicine, but you happen to be in a country like I am where that isn't available on the national health, you must take MD medicine. Because when you get to my age, this could be considered, if you refuse, that you're not cooperating and that you're partly responsible for your own illness then, and you find your money could be penalised. But the way round it, thank God, is that you can put your medicine, as I do, under your pyramid. Now, it doesn't have to be a big thing as that, but mine is, because it's not just for my personal use. I'm intending to manufacture larger quantities of my own personal usage and then take them out to various sources of water. And that's how you would put it back to the planet. And this work's been done not directly pyramid water, but a similar analogy people have blessed water. Carrying on from the Emoto research, the Japanese scientist who demonstrated through making slides of frozen samples of water, by freezing it, and then saw the beautiful crystal formations from water that had been blessed, right, to other samples of water that hadn't. Various multitude of different things, from different places as well. And you clearly saw that not so nice water had a very irregular crystallization shape or pattern. Whereas you can actually see some of this on Facebook. I posted it. Bosnian pyramid water has a beautiful golden crystalline formation, right? Now we all know the significance of gold and what it represents. Now I know I've got someone messaging me, but they'll have to wait. It's just coming up to nearly an hour. Anybody that wants to assist or help me or can help me by getting me in contact with a source of Bosnian pyramid water, that would be great. This will be posted onto YouTube later, and anybody that wanted to share this with people for discussion, I saw this guy and sounds a bit far out, but what do you think? And the best way to do that is to share and watch it together on your telly, on YouTube. If nothing else, it'll stimulate a nice bit of interesting discussion, right? So I'll leave you now. God bless. It's only 2 minutes under. I'm actually, or my body, all the bits is busting to go to toilet. So not too good. I'm a diabetic, so the waterworks can be a bit of a pain at times. Water just passes through you and you've got to pass it. So bye for now.